Friday, Friday, Friday is my favorite. Friday is my favorite day. Let's finish it Friday. I'm stitching it my way. Just wanna be sitting with needles and knitting. Hello, hello, it is Finish It Friday. What is that? That's just kind of like show and tell when you were in school. I'm going to show you my projects. And if you don't know, I'm visually impaired. And my name's May. So, I like to use my words as a content creator and make sure that on my channel, I include the 16 million legally blind people. And so I'm going to use my words and tell you about my projects. So, if you're returning, thanks for coming back. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. And if you're blind or visually impaired, this video opens with a picture that says, "Welcome to my channel," spelled out in blue and red yarn. If you've been watching my videos over the last week or so, I've been working on a crochet shawl. And ta-da! That is the project to show today. I am so happy with it. This is my very first crochet shawl. And I'm proud of it. I am. And I don't mean that in like some prideful, arrogant way. I just mean like I get that sense of accomplishment, right? I look at every knitting and crochet project as a challenge, something to figure out, a puzzle. Can I do it? Can I figure it out? That's kind of part of the fun for me in knitting and crochet, is seeing if I can actually make it. I mean, obviously, I love to make beautiful things and clothes and practical things to wear, right? Gifts to give, but it's just kind of a challenge too. Can I do that? So I always get kind of a sense of accomplishment. Not that it's like arrogance or anything, not that kind of pride. I don't think that kind of pride is good. But I mean the sense of accomplishment. I think that knitting and crochet will keep you humble, because to me, there's always something more to learn. There's still so much about knitting and crochet that I don't know. So let me tell you about my project. It is an 8-pointed shawl. It's kind of a crescent. It drapes over your back on a nice chilly sort of summer evening, maybe concert in the park or something in the evening, sitting in a movie theater, right? It gets chilly, or church. They got the air conditioning on too high. It's great to kind of drape over your shoulders. You know, when you don't quite want a sweater, but you still want something on your arms sometimes, they're great. They're handy. They're wonderful. So this one is a free YouTube tutorial by Crystal from Bag O' Day Crochet. That's where you can find it. And I believe it's called Love of My Life Shawl. She has, I think, over 1,400 free crochet tutorials. Really great resource. And they're free. It's amazing. So, I know that she used a DK weight yarn. So that's what I chose to do. Now, I think that this is 8-pointed shawl. I think you could do it in a number 4 worsted. I think you could do it in a number 2 sport, but I did decide to go ahead and do it in the same weight of yarn, but not necessarily the same yarn as her. I chose, I'm tangled in my knitting project. Oh my goodness. Okay. I chose the Knit Picks and We Crochet. Boop, there it is if you can see. Knit Picks We Crochet Hawthorne DK. Number 3, it is 80% fine superwash Highland wool, and I believe 20% polyamide. And I believe it's about 220, probably about 220 yards. And the color is what I had to have this for. The color is called Astoria Tonal. And if you're blind or visually impaired, Knit Picks We Crochet has the best color descriptions on the internet. They describe it as sort of a gray, mixed shades of gray with blue undertones, denim blue and other blue undertones. And if, to me, there's a town called Astoria, Oregon, and I live on the West Coast, and I've been to Astoria. So this yarn is like the perfect description of an Oregon coast sky, right? It's primarily cloudy over there. So you got your grays, but occasionally you get a little bit of blue sky coming through. So I loved that they blended the blue and the gray. When I read the description of that yarn, I had to have it. I did. It just brought back all of my good memories of Astoria. I had a boyfriend in my undergraduate years, and we're not together anymore, but there's no hate. We're very, very much friends still. We can talk. But he had an aunt and uncle that lived in Astoria, Oregon. And they invited us out there for a weekend. And it was the first time where I got to clean my own crab. Like, not just, get it in a plastic container from the deli counter. But we got fresh crab. And I got to have the full experience of putting it in the pot and then cleaning my crab, crack pulling that shell open, right? And you can most definitely clean your own crab by feel. Sight is not needed for that. So that is always going to be a part of my my special memories of Astoria. And I'm kind of a curious person that way, right? There are some people who can be content for the rest of their life thinking crab comes out of a plastic container at the store or arrives on a plate at the restaurant without any further thought. Not me. I am a curious mind. I always want to think. I look at a crab and I think, like Little Mermaid, right? I grew up in the 80s and 90s of like, no, I stuff you with bread. It don't hurt, because you're dead. And you're certainly lucky you are, because it's gonna be hot on that big silver pot, right? I look at the crab and I'm like, who looked at that and thought, yeah, there's some yummy meat in there, right? So I always have a curious mind. I always want to know like the process. I am the person who likes to know how the sausage was made. I know not everybody does, but I am that person. My mind is curious. So I loved having the opportunity to throw those crabs in the pot and then clean my own, understand how that's done. That's just me, but I think that's partially why I'm drawn to knit and crochet too, right? I don't just like to go to Walmart and pick up a blanket. I really love the process of making it, right? That's me. So, I think that's partially why I'm drawn to experiences like that. But Astoria wasn't just about cleaning crabs and walks on the beach, and it was nice walks on the beach. It was also his aunt and uncle owned a 48-foot sailboat. And I thought, that'd be really fun to take you guys out and spend the night on the ocean. Would that be fun? I'm like, yeah, that's the kind of thing that would be super fun to me. So, and his uncle knew that he thought, of course I can sail. I mean, I'm not telling any blind person to go out and go sailing by themselves. I don't think that's a good idea for anybody if you've never done it before. Take a class, hire somebody, but, and I can't read all the gauges and all the dials on the boat, right? Can't do that because I don't have enough eyesight. But he also knew, his uncle, that once we got out on the open water, there was a lot of sailing I could do, because you could navigate with the sun. And although Astoria wasn't super sunny, you could still, even I, with my dim sight, because I am light sensitive, if there's sun out, I'll be able to find it. He knew that I could navigate with the sun. So he thought, that's perfect for me. I can know my directions, and I do. I learned how to navigate with north, east, south, and west in the 5th grade. That's when I got my first white cane. First did orientation and mobility training. That's when they teach people who are blind or visually impaired how to navigate without sight. So I did that. So I knew northeast, south, and west. I knew how to use the sun and be able to navigate. So, and on top of that, he said, you know, do you feel the wind? Where's your wind coming from? Do you feel it on your back, on your side? And he taught me that that was a way that could help me to monitor the wind, was a way that would help me to understand about adjusting the sails. So I thought it was pretty cool that his uncle understood that just because I was visually impaired didn't mean I couldn't be helpful on a sailboat. Like I said, I'm not going out solo anytime soon. But and obviously, if you're visually impaired or you're sighted, you should use caution out there, right? The deck of the boat, it's slippery, there's ropes, all kinds of things. But he understood that I could pilot that boat, and I did. He let me take the wheel, which is huge. It was probably like over 4 feet wide. This wheel on this sailboat was huge. And he let me take the wheel and pilot the boat out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And he and his wife said, well, would you like to spend the night on the boat? And one of the big factors was, what about your guide dog? We took my guide dog, my very first guide dog, a beautiful black and tan Genevieve, with us on the boat. And of course, it depended on would she be able to take care of her doggy business on the boat. I knew that she would. If you don't know anything about guide dogs yet, most guide dogs are trained to relieve themselves on command. And my guide dog's command was, do your business. I had 3 guide dogs. All 3 of them were taught to take care of their outdoor doggy business on the command. Do your business. And she was very, very good at that. If I told her, if I said her name, Genevieve, do your business, she knew. Drop. So I didn't doubt that she could be trained to use the deck of the boat for her rest area, her doggy rest area, right? Her little doggy bathroom. And she did. And so once we knew that, we knew we could stay out there. So for me, as soon as I read the description of that yarn and how appropriately named it was, that it just described Astoria, Oregon perfectly, it was like, wow, I have to have some of that yarn, because it brought back all those experiences, all those memories, from everything from the feel of the sand on my toes and the wind and the smell of the salt water and the taste of the crab and the movement on the sailboat, and you know, learning that whole experience. I was like, wow, I have to have that. And not only that, but when I look at sort of like these peaks, this 8-pointed shawl, right? It's got like peaks, it's got points. If you're visually impaired and you don't know, the points are like peaks, and then it goes down into valleys where you do decrease. And that also reminded me of the waves, right? When I was out on that sailboat, and I was thinking, yeah, because I had this yarn, and I knew I had this yarn, and I was just trying to find the perfect project for it. What can I do with this yarn? And I knew I wanted to do something pretty special. So when I thought about it, I thought the points of this shawl and how it goes up at the point and then it goes down in the decrease reminded me of being on that sailboat and feeling the waves and the water. And I thought, how perfect is that, right, for my Astoria tonal special yarn. So that was one of the many reasons I chose to buy the yarn, chose to use it in this project. How about you? Do you sometimes buy yarns because the name reminds you of something? It's a special significance. Now, I'm totally colorblind, but still, I can just truly feel with the description of the blues and the grays. I can like feel the ocean breeze. You know, the whole experience of being out there just comes back to me when I think about the blues and the grays of Astoria. So I'd love to hear from any of you. do you sometimes buy yarn just because of that? And then do you sometimes choose certain yarns for certain projects? Just, I mean, you know, I obviously know that sometimes when we work other people's patterns, we want to use the exact yarn, make ours look exactly the same. Some of us do, some of us don't. I love to live a little free about that. And I, you know, sometimes try to match it like a number 3, but I don't feel always the need to match my projects exactly. But I would love to know sometimes what some of you all do. And are you a crocheter? Are you a knitter? Are you a crafter? Do you sew? Do you quilt? Let me know in the comments section. Are you new to crochet? I've been crocheting for less than a year, so I'm feeling pretty good about this shawl. I'm feeling like I learned a lot about the shaping process, the increases and the decreases. So leave me a comment. Just say hello if you want. Let me know where you're watching from. It is Friday, so let me know. Do you have weekend plans? Are you going on a special trip? Maybe you're going to the coast this weekend. It's going to be pretty cold still in Astoria, Oregon this time of year, but still could be fun, although windy and potentially rainy. But let me know. Do you have a special weekend trip planned? Are you just doing life? Are you doing your shopping? Are you just like looking forward to hanging out, watching a special TV show? I'm looking forward to watching 1923, new episode coming out. So say hello. Please like this video. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you want to talk knitting and crochet and visual impairments. You know, things you can do when you're visually impaired. Sailing by the sun and the wind. You want to talk about that stuff? Teaching your dog how to use the boat for a bathroom? This is your place. And remember that whether you see or you see like me, which is not too much, or you don't see at all, creativity is for everybody. So whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting, whatever it is, today is a great day to craft and create. Thanks so much for stopping by and spending a little bit of your day with me. Bye-bye.
Audio description for people who are blind or visually impaired like myself. I record my videos in a room that's mostly dark because I am light sensitive and can't open my eyes in the light. But I know most visually impaired people are the opposite of me. They have night blindness, so I like to show the shawl in some light. So hopefully people who can see, who have some sight in the light can see it better. This is the 8-pointed shawl in the astorial tonal, the blues and the grays. And as I said at the opening, this video opens with a picture that says welcome to my channel, spelled out in blue and red yarn. And then I also included at the end 4 pictures. Now I am not good at editing, so one of the pictures is of Genevieve, my first guide dog, and I walking on our college campus in undergrad, and she is a black and tan German Shepherd. She's wearing her harness. The second picture is her laying down at my feet in her guide dog harness on the Portland Max train, which she did every day, 5 days a week in Portland, my first year graduate school. And there is a picture of her sitting at my feet. It's our picture from Guide Dogs for the Blind. The picture was taken vertically, and I don't have enough tech skills to change the orientation to make it show up in a horizontal format. So I'm cut out of the picture, but that's okay because you see me in the video, so you don't need to see me in the picture. And the last picture is a picture of Genevieve and I on the beach. I think that's actually our trip to Astoria, the very trip that I mentioned in the video. Genevieve loved the beach and she's playing with a stick. And the video closes with a picture that says, "Thank you for watching," spelled out in blue and red yarn. And thank you for listening. Pause.